Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Alicia Johnson, and welcome to my channel. This is a channel dedicated to the work that I do as it relates to helping everyone who crosses my path, who chooses to learn how to recalibrate their lives from where they are to where they need to be. And we do this using a variety of tools. And so this channel, if you will, is being curated to bring to you different aspects of this work. And so the work that we are working, the part that we are doing right now is the journaling work. We are a big proponent of journaling in the 1212 community, and that's the name of the community. And I am Alicia Johnson. And in this community, journaling is pretty much the crux of the platform. And we use journaling not as normal people use journaling, we use journaling to get results. As far as I'm concerned, if you are just journaling just for the sake of journaling, what's the point? If you are just journaling to record, it was a sunny day today. Today my boss I wanted to cuss my boss out, or I kicked the cat, or whatever it is. I used to journal like that. I've journaled all my life pretty much. And one of the things that happened to me many years ago is that I began to like reread a lot of my previous journals. And those journals were all over the place, all over the place. And it was pretty much just documentation of what was going on at the time. Some days I would write, some days I would skip, some days I would vent, some days I was excited, literally, I was all over the place. And when everything started to really fall apart in my life, I turned to journaling seriously and once again. And one of the things that was very telling during this time period was that during this process, heaven began to unfold, allow me to unfold the techniques that we use in this journaling process. And so we journal to get results in this community. And so that is pretty much what this part of the process will be. And it's all about journaling to get results. And we break down our topics by we break everything down by different topics so that you are able to stay on point and on track, so that you can, if when you go back to reread your journals, you have very clear and very structured, if you will, documentation as to where you were and where you are now. And so this is a very powerful process if you are one, consistent, if you are two, truthful, and if you are three, believing. And so you need to be consistent, truthful, and believing that things can be different, believing that things can change. And so this is why this work is so important to me. So we come here every night. This is very new to me as it relates to doing this type of work in a air quote public type forum. And so we're going to, as we move through this process, things will change, things will shift, things will actually begin to um, unfold for you. And so, with that being said, it is your responsibility to be consistent. It is your responsibility to show up. It is your responsibility to do what needs to be done in order to move yourself through the process. And so, as we begin to move through this work, please understand that I am not afraid of change. I am not afraid of feedback. I am not afraid of shifting. And if there's anything that isn't working, if there's anything that you need more clarification on, if there's anything that you need in order to obtain a greater, how can you put it? a greater understanding of the work, then please let me know. It is a very interactive process that we are in. So, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who have been with us the entire 7 days, now we're at day 8. Then I pray that you are garnering some of the knowledge that you need in order to make the shifts. And for those who are new here, those who will be crossing our paths via replay, then feel free to go back and listen to the days 1 through 7 to catch up so that you can start to understand more of how this process works. So we are now at day 8, forgiving yourself for being impatient. And I am following our actual journal. This is our forgiveness journal that we have for this particular part of the work. And every single day has us, I don't know if you can see that, but every single day has assignments. Every single day has a reason why you're doing what you're doing, and every single day kind of breaks out a couple or one or two of the benefits that you'll receive from doing this exercise. And this is why it is very important. One of the things that I teach is that information for the sake of having information is there's no reason for that. Information without revelation is useless. Information with revelation without application is a special kind of stupid. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times we take a lot of time trying to acquire more and more and more and more and more and more information. But if you are acquiring this information without the revelation of why heaven needs you to have it, then the information is useless. The information is just information gathering. It is just information that will pretty much, if it is not used properly, is going to exhaust you. Information overload is real. It's a real thing. Information that comes with revelation, and heaven gives you the reason why you need to do certain things. Heaven gives you the reason why heaven is requiring you to do these things. You have the information, you have the reason why, you have the revelation, and you do not apply it, then shame on you. Shame on you. You have the information, you know the reason why you have the information. Heaven is requiring you to do something with the information, and you sit on it. And so, sitting on that information with the revelation is pretty much telling God, thanks, but no thanks. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the process, but I decline at this time. How arrogant. How arrogant is that? To know that heaven has considered you, even considered you to be a part of the process, considered you to take part in the work. And in your arrogance, you turn heaven down. How do we turn heaven down? We turn heaven down by not doing the things that heaven is asking us to do. Ask and it is given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open. Every time heaven gives you the opportunity to take part in an activity, consider that heaven asking, seeking, and knocking. And if heaven is knocking on your door and you open the door, that is the most disheartening part, is that I have seen this work too many times to know that so many times people will open the door when heaven knocks. I know that they open the door because of the revelations that are springing forth, because of the divine encounters, because of all of these things. But so many people are impatient and they close the door. That's rude. That is very rude. So, this brings us to today's work, which is forgiving yourself for being impatient. Assignment: reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. Take some time today to list all the areas of your life where you have missed the mark because you were just too impatient to see the progress through to the end. Why? Just knowing where and how you have not allowed heaven to complete the full assignment will strengthen you now to understand that God is a God of completion and that from here on, patience is necessary to allowing heaven to fulfill its plan in your life. Benefit. Learning and appreciating the power of patience means that you will immediately advance in attaining the true desires of your heart. We live in a very impatient society. Patience helps you stand out in the crowd. Day 8. Forgive yourself for being impatient. Impatience is something that is a personal journey. This is something that you have to deal with personally because no one knows how impatient you are more than you do. Spiritually, are you impatient? Mentally, are you impatient? And physically, are you impatient? So many people, it is so humbling to see how many powerful people have literally crossed my path. I teach this, I live by it. Pay attention to everything and everyone who crosses your path. When people cross my path, heaven in so many beautiful ways will reveal to me characteristics in the character of that person. And it is not my responsibility to share with you all of the things that heaven sees because I am not equipped, if you will, to stand in proxy for heaven. That's not my job, that's not my responsibility. And I'm very clear, if you will, on my assignment. My assignment is to be present enough in people's lives to serve as the beacon, to serve as the light, to serve as the guide through the process. Because if I were to take the gift that heaven has given me and I start to pimp it out, if you will, then that would be a disservice to heaven. And because everyone has free will, it is not my responsibility to reveal to you what heaven reveals to me because then I am putting more pressure on myself. This work in this community, and this is why heaven had to work with me with this impatience piece. God was for me helping me to understand that in order to sustain the work that God has given me to do, I have to learn to be patient. I have to learn to be patient not only for myself, but I have to learn to be patient for others because everyone is entering into this work at different times and for different reasons. But it is my responsibility to be patient, to sit and to be an ever present representative for heaven as people come through in and out of this community. I have been doing this work for a little over consistently like 6 or 7 years. And the 5 a.m. challenges are the anchor. The 5 a.m. challenges are the focal point of this work. There are other things that we do, but you can count on the 5 a.m. being the anchor. But I would not have been able to do that part of the work if God had not allowed me to work on this impatience piece. Because patience is the gift that heaven gives each and every one of us to finish and to win the race. Most people don't finish or win any of the assignments or challenges that heaven gives us because we tap out too soon. We're just impatient. There are so many brilliant, so many powerful people who have crossed my path, and I'm still here. I'm still here, sitting, guiding, and being patient. But it's very disheartening in so many areas to watch people who just give up too soon. It is your responsibility to tap into the truth of who God has created you to be. I can see the greatness. I can see the assignment. I can see the steps. I can see the obstacles. I can see all of those things. And this is how the world perverts the process. Instead of going through the process, people want to shortchange the process. And by shortchanging the process, that means that they want to know things that are going to happen in advance so that they can choose whether or not they want to go through it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You do not build faith like that. You do not build faith by picking and choosing the aspects of the vision and the assignment that you want to endure. This forgiveness work that we do in this community is one of the things, one of the many things that heaven required me to go through before heaven would reveal the next step. On earth as it is in heaven, for everything in the natural, there's a parallel and corresponding occurrence in the supernatural. Pay attention. When you go to, let's say, get your car serviced, and you take the car in and you tell the mechanic it's making a chinka chink sound or humming, you're trying to explain it, and the mechanic's like, just give me the key and go sit down. Let me have my my technicians check it out for you. We'll diagnose the problem. So the mechanic will diagnose the problem. The mechanic will come back with a whole laundry list of things that need to be done. Well, this needs to be done. This is wearing. This is this. This is this. This is that. And so at that point, the mechanic will total everything up. It's going to be about $1,300. And you're like, ooh, hmm, okay. Um, let's go back to this list. So, what is imperative on this list? Like, what is the most dangerous part of this list that I need to take care of? So, if I get it, I can drive the car. The car is drivable. So the mechanic is like, well, we can get you going. We can get everything moving. Everything else can kind of be, done over time. So we can get you in and out for about $700. Okay, let's do that $700. The mechanic is not going to, it depends on what your mechanic does. It depends. But most of the mechanics I've been to in my entire life is like they do the work because they're going to hold your car hostage. Okay. So they'll do the work and you don't pay until the end when you go to pick your vehicle up at the end of service. I don't know what it is that makes people think that heaven is going to reward you before you perform the service. Earth doesn't even do that. So, how much greater is God in heaven? We will do a little bit of the assignment. And we will do a little bit. And because we have possibly dragged our feet, because we have possibly been disagreeable, because we have been disobedient, that one little task seems really arduous, which it wasn't meant to be in the beginning. It's just that you waited to the last minute. And because you've done this one little part, it's like, well, God, I did this. And God's like, bravo. Now what about the rest? Well, that took forever. I don't even want to do this no more. It's just too hard. I don't understand why other people have it easier than me. This is just not fair. How many times have you thrown tantrums and had pity parties because you personally were too impatient to do the things that you needed to do to position yourself to be equally yoked with heaven so that the process is not arduous? Let me tell y'all how this works. This work at this point with this community is well beyond me. It's so much bigger than me right now. Literally, I have one, two, three, four. There are like 4 or 5 of us working always journal consistently. I mean, like work, like work. And because God has blessed me with a very powerful team, I am able to do even more because of that support. But the reason that I share this is because that support system did not come overnight. A lot of times, I run across this a lot. People don't want to do things because people will give me this excuse: I don't have a team. I don't have anybody that's going to be able to help me. I don't have anybody. Are you preparing yourself for your team? See, I had to prepare the way people are showing up for this work in this community, bringing the skill sets that they bring. It is so humbling to me because heaven is showing me that because you've done your work, I can now present you with the best of the best, with willing hearts, with excitement. I can honestly say that my team at some points are more excited than I am sometimes. They're like, we can do this. This is exciting. And I'm like, okay. Y'all think so? You think we can do that? Yes, we can. I'm like, oh, okay. But this did not happen overnight. And what you're looking for will not happen overnight. But you have to be willing to be patient and to do the things that heaven is requiring you to do. One of the things that heaven required me to do was the forgiveness piece. This forgiveness piece, this sucker right here. And this is the thing, this journal is a beautiful process. It's all nice and neat and organized, and the prompts are here because I had to patiently go through the process so that I could extract the data that I needed in order to move other people through the process. But the initial process is not pretty, y'all. It's not. It's not pretty. It took me 10 years. It took me 10 years, and people get mad because they're not a success, if you will, in 10 months. When you are in position to be used powerfully by heaven, then know that there is going to be powerful work that you need to do spiritually, mentally, and physically. So, in order to prepare for everything that is happening at this point, God was like, you and Mike got to get this stuff together. You cannot, in good conscience, teach on the things that you will be required to teach on if your household is a mess. You cannot be expected to do anything for others more than you are willing to do for yourself. The forgiveness piece was one of the things I had to be patient with. Discipline and organization was another piece that I had to go through. Abundance, like financial, being fiscally responsible was another one that I had to go through. Y'all, the way these bills come through, it's like an airport. It's like, what's due now? What? But heaven was like, you won't be able to handle any sizable amount of money until you get your own house in order. A credit score, like you can do things in the world to get your credit score up, but if that credit score is not backed by integrity, it means nothing. Being patient means that heaven is going to reveal the not so nice things about you. Heaven is going to convict you, not condemn you. Condemnation like crushes you, conviction inspires you. When heaven convicts you, heaven is just saying, I made you better than this. You can do better than this. You can be nicer than this. You can be more prosperous than this. You can be more abundant than this. You can be more organized than this. Heaven's conviction nudges you. I have seen so many people cross my path that has so many talents that if curated in the right way would yield phenomenal results. But because they were not willing to do the work as it related to healing their relationships, they were not willing to do the work as it relates to being consistent. Because they were not willing to do the work as it related to getting organized. Because they were not willing to do the work as it relates to doing the work in the secret places. They're still running the same hamster wheel. So tonight is the night that you and heaven become clear on what it is you have to do to patiently move yourself through the process. There are people right now that heaven is just telling you to get up early. Just rise up early. Don't try to figure out what you're supposed to do when you get up early. Just get up early. Well, Lord, I would get up early, but ain't nobody else getting up like that. This is where we are. Join us at 5 a.m. every Monday through Friday. Now that excuse is off the table. What next? Heaven wants you to rise up early so that heaven knows, so that you know that heaven knows that heaven has your attention. Prayer is a privilege. Prayer is a privilege that we have. It's a gift. It's a communication tool that heaven has given us while we are sojourning earth. We are moving through this planet. Heaven allows us to be in constant communication with heaven, and that's through prayer. Prayer is what heaven uses to help you to understand that when you are in prayer, when you are in communication with heaven, then you are more focused on heaven than you are with the world. Prayer focuses you, prayer directs you, prayer moves you through the process. But you have to be patient with prayer. You have to be patient with prayer. I don't know how many ways to say this, but God is the creator of time. God is not bound by time. God is not concerned with your timetable. Go to heaven all day long, as many times as you want to, and tell God, it's taking too long. It's taking too long. It's taking too long. It's taking too long. And God will say, says who? You have to follow the clues for yourself. When heaven gives you an assignment, when heaven gives you something to do, heaven has factored in all of your inconsistencies, all of your no's, all of your doubts, all of your uncertainties. And it is very important to understand that when heaven gets involved in the process, that heaven is not going to let you lose. Heaven is not going to allow you to lose. Is heaven calling you to rise up early? Is heaven calling you to be consistent? Is heaven calling you to be forgiving? Heaven starts you right where you are. The way heaven started with me, God was like, you will progress according to how well you assist others with their dreams. Start with your job. Start with your job. That was a big one for me. So many of us talk about, oh, I hate this job. I hate this employer. I hate this. Well, if you are wanting to start your own business, then guess what? If you don't get that thing together now, you will be the topic of someone else's conversation. I was like, "Oh God, I don't want that. I don't want take Cynthia. We work together. I mean, she is like the my right hand. If I had not done the work that heaven required me to do as it related to my job, Cynthia wouldn't be here. This would be an awful experience. If I continued to show up for the day gig that I have in the way that I was showing up, this work would not work. I have to show up differently because I am different. You have to show up differently because you are different. I challenge you until you start to love the position that you're in, until you start to appreciate where heaven has you, you're not going to rise any higher. Until I started to appreciate the marriage that I had or that I have, nothing was going to get better for me. Until I started to appreciate the situations that God had me in, the revelations were not going to come. So I had to learn to be patient with the process so that I could extract all of the data that I needed in order to move me to the next level. Your next level is there, but what are you doing to reach it? All right, everybody. So I want to keep these calls at like 30 minutes a night so that you can take time after to reflect, to journal, to close your day. And the reason that we're doing this strategically in the evenings at 8 is because this should replace some of your TV time. This should replace some of the time in the more powerful way to close your day. What more powerful way to close your day than reflecting? The power of reflection is real because it gives you the opportunity to break those scenarios down into bite-sized morsels so that you can deal with the situations immediately on hand so that you're not carrying it from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. How many times have you just allowed things to just fester and to keep growing and to become compounded that by the time you are ready to deal with it, it's so convoluted you don't even remember where it started? I just know I'm mad at her for something. I can't even remember why I'm mad. I just don't like even going to that place. I can't even remember why I don't like going, but something happened. Some did happen. About 10 years ago, something happened. I just can't can't remember. Are you your biggest stumbling block? When God began to help me with this, it was so funny. I was like, who is the man? You know, you hear people, the man just holding me back. The world, the this, them, they. Who are they? Who are them? Who's holding you back? You, those people. What people? When you start to generalize things, then that means that you are in a very precarious place. When you can't really pinpoint how something started or truly explain what happened, then that's an indicator that you have some forgiveness work to do. So, my work here is to be a beacon of light, to not reveal the process, not reveal the assignment to you, but to guide you through the assignment, to allow you to reveal. It's so old. I can't tell you how exciting it is when people come to me and share with me what God has given them as confirmation to what God has given me about them. And all I can do is say, keep going. You're moving in the right direction. Keep going. See, the world wants you to believe, and this is why I don't believe in like psychics and not that. Now that stuff is powerful. So don't get it twisted. But there's no revelation to it. There is information all over, in all in the ethers. It's floating through the spirit realm. And when you put your information out there, and what I mean by putting your information out there is by talking and you're charging the atmosphere. People that are tapped into the spirit realm just simply go around picking it up like the trash that you put on the curb. And the trash that you put on the curb, the trash that you put on the curb is accessible to everyone because now it's in the public domain, it's in a public space. The same thing with your spiritual work. So I challenge you tonight to slow down, to be more patient, to have more of a listening ear, and to be more willing to go through the process and don't quit another thing. All right. I love you all. Have a good evening, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Sweet dreams. And act right. Act right tomorrow. Be good.